Meet the Brumby bands. The first band we're going to talk about today is the Redress Band. I named this band after a young chestnut mare that I named Redress, and the name comes from me finally overcoming all of the problems I'd previously encountered attempting to dart Brumbies with drugs shot from a dart gun. After many failures with various drugs, I finally succeeded using the drug immobilize, or M99, and Redress was the first mare I successfully darted and attached a GPS collar to. So finally all my darting problems had been redressed and the mare was given the name Redress. She's a good-looking mare and I like her. I was familiar with this band from previous visits to the area. The band was very quiet and allowed me to approach within 30 or 40 metres at any time. They never ever panicked or ran away at my approach. They completely ignored my presence. The Redress Band was led by a single stallion, a large muscular chestnut with a white blaze that I named Redmayne. There were 5 or 6 other mares in the band with foals at foot, and when I started to follow the Redmayne band, I singled out this young chestnut mare for darting and attaching a GPS collar to. I immobilised her using the dart gun and M99 and attached a GPS collar. After drug reversal, I watched her recover and rejoined her band. The reason I chose mares for GPS collaring and tracking was because they are permanent members of the band. The stallion may change any time. The mares are therefore reliable beacons for GPS tracking of individual bands moving through their home ranges, and they give reliable records of their movements. Redress had no foal at the time of collaring, and as the months went by I could see that her abdomen was enlarging, meaning she was surely pregnant. But I've never seen her foal. Although Redmayne, the band stallion, was a chestnut himself, and she was the only chestnut in the band, I assumed she was not his daughter or sister because inbreeding is rare within Brumby bands. She must have joined the band at some other stage in the past when she left her natal band. The other band mares were grey, creamy or skewbald. So let's join the Redress Band and watch them in their relaxed way of life as we move with them, recording their activities from day to day and month to month. This is the Redress Band, named after the chestnut mare in the centre there. Redress, she's wearing a GPS collar. She was one of the first mares that I successfully darted and got the GPS collar on. So I've been tracking her for the last 4 months. I know exactly where she goes. I know what her range is. They're all asleep at the moment. They've been wandering around feeding. I've been following them, but now they've settled down and they're all having an afternoon nap. 3 p.m. They seem to sleep at 11 a.m. and now at 3 p.m. Got their heads in bushes to keep the flies off and nice and relaxed. So when we catch up with the Redress Band here in the central desert of Australia, it's a period that's experiencing summer rain, which is pretty unusual for the time. There was standing water everywhere. Some of the billabongs had filled and creeks still had standing water for them to drink. So they didn't have to go back to the permanent water at Bagot Springs. And you can see them grazing the greenest grass here. It's like a parkland. The desert has been transformed from an arid savanna to luxurious grass. And the horses are taking full advantage of this. They're grazing constantly and they're getting fat, they're putting on condition. The mares are producing lots of milk and they're growing these foals rapidly into sturdy new Brumbies. This is Redmayne coming up on the left of the frame. He's following a particular mare at the moment, a creamy mare with a foal at foot. The foal's about 10 days old, and that creamy mare is coming into season, as you'll see as the video goes along. Time for a snooze amongst the buffle. Oh, the band has moved on, so the sleepy foal has to get up and follow and get some milk from his mother. Now they've slowed down at about 11 o'clock in the day, siesta time for Brumbies, and to get some sleep they've put their heads in bushes, or the foals buried their heads in their mother's tails, because the flies are just terrible at the moment. The summer rain has produced a massive hatch out of the black bush fly. Tiny little flies that don't bite, but they get into your eyes, the corner of your mouth, any sweat. The horses are continually pestered around their noses, particularly their eyes. The eyes get reddened with sores, and here they are waving their heads in the bushes. This is witchetty bush. At first I thought they might have been breaking the leaves and getting some sort of insect repellent, but no, I think they're just using the bushes as a fly swatter. It all stops at dusk, of course. These flies don't fly at night. You can hear in the microphone flies buzzing around. I was covered in black flies. Sleepy foal. Thank goodness for a mother's tail. Now we're moving back in time to when I darted Redress. So you can see that she's a quiet band. They're standing in the mulga, and you can see that it was dry in the winter before the previous footage was taken. So there's Redress volunteering to be darted. Pop. I put the dart in the muscles of her neck. At first they don't move very far. The impact of the dart doesn't seem to worry them too much. when the drug kicks in, they get the wanders and travel some distance at some speed before they stop, become immobilized, or lie down.
Make it very easy for me.
Redress got jammed in a mulga tree, and I approach her cautiously here because you don't know just how deeply immobilized they are.
Minutes. I'm not sure whether she's going to fall. I think she's oblivious to my presence. I think.
Normally the breaking of twigs like this would really alarm a horse, but she is, as I said before, oblivious to what's going on around her. So this is the GPS tracking collar, and I'm taking off the magnets that keep the battery not working until the magnets are removed. I remove the batteries from the radio transmitter and the GPS.
Time to take the magnets off.
Until it's ready to attach.
Now, the task is to get all these things off without losing any nuts. One nut. Now to administer the antidote. The band is still waiting for her over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and she's the number 9. I'm going to put the start down and get ready to administer the antidote. Here's the dead syringe, the used syringe. And this is the antidote. So if I can get an IV.
Reverse is M99. Within 10 or 12 seconds, you'll see the mare stop trembling and suddenly become aware of her surroundings, and she'll get a look at me and get a fright and
IV injected.
canter off to
12:28.
join her friend.
17 minutes after knockdown. Hopefully she'll rejoin the band. All right, little girl, you're now a collared mare. Done everything right. Magnets off. All she wants to do is rejoin the band. Excellent, that couldn't have gone better. Who's this? Here's a rival stallion.
So the stallion with the
What are you two up to?
white socks is a rival stallion from nearby. I don't know where he came from, but he must have seen the commotion. So that's Redmayne on the left. And they're smelling a dung pile. But Redmayne is keeping that stallion away from his mares, which are behind him. So he's going to cut off the stallion now from getting anywhere near his own mares. And he must have convinced the foreign stallion that it was no good pursuing the Redress Band mares, and they, after a little bit more of a display, they separated their different ways. So the White Sox stallion goes to the right, and Redmayne.
Well, I've got the radio antenna out, and Redress is still in the area.
You can hear the click of the antenna, and it's loudest when the antenna is pointing at Redress.
And the strongest signal, believe it or not, is coming from exactly where I've just been.
So this is the vehicle that I use when we're tracking the Brumbies. This is the Brumby runner. And now I'm attaching the amplifier of the radio signal to the antenna so that I can walk with it in just one hand.
My strongest signal in this is in this direction, so I'll head out that way. Turn it off for a while.
Loudest click in that direction, so that's the direction I head off into.
Straight ahead. Okay, that's the band we're looking for, the Redress Band. Oh, boys and girls, it's me again. Oh, boys and girls. So here is Redress. We found her using the radio antenna, and she's with her band. The band's pretty dispersed at the moment, but there is Redress. Always curious and pretty friendly. Coming up to say hello. Hello, beautiful. Looking a bit more pregnant since I last saw her.
So the band is now moving out of the sleeping area with the bushes and moving out to pasture. This is the creamy mare that's in season with the foal. You'll see Redmayne take a little bit of an interest in her there as she passes, and he vocalizes. And now he's leading the band off. He doesn't usually lead, but the others are certainly following. One of the mares is usually the leader, and Redmayne follows along behind. Now, Redmayne has detected a rival stallion somewhere in the distance, and he's rushed off, and now he's returned to the band, and you can see him snake-necking the mares away. His feather nose, suckling from her mother. The bird you can hear in the background is the crested bellbird. Often heard but rarely seen. Moving through their range now, with Redmayne picking up the pheromones in the creamy mare's urine. So he's marked that spot, and you can see that Redmayne is never very far from the creamy mare and her foal. That's him shearing a bush. And now she's urinated and clearly showing that she's in season, and he's scenting that spot and performing phlegm to analyse the pheromones and recognising that she's in season. He's marked the spot to deter any other stallion from being interested. But now he's decided that it's time to mate, and you can see that he's a pretty experienced stallion. He's not rough with the mare, and she's fully in season. So now he begins to ejaculate. You can see the flagging of his tail. 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's next year's foal on the way. The foal is jaw snapping, demonstrating to the stallion that she is fully subservient. There's the crested bellbird again. The flies, constant pest, even for the foals. Water everywhere. This band at the moment doesn't have to trek to the permanent spring at Bagot Springs. Because of the rain, they can find water around every corner. There's Redress. Redmayne is doing a little bit of herding, moving the band from the rear position. Foal does his best to stop his mother, make her stand still for a drink. Now the band is approaching the big mare mud hole. You can see Redmayne in the background there, moving his band along. And there's Redress, 3 grey mares and the 2 skewel mares. the green pasture are shriveled up and dried. And now the bands have to make the trek all the way to the permanent waterhole at Bagot Springs. There is no more ephemeral water, no more billabongs, no more puddles in the creek beds. The plains are dry, not a blade of grass. And the band, the Redress Band, is slowly walking to Bagot Springs. They must have water. They've been away for 3 days, gathering sparse food and pasture many kilometres from the waterhole, and now they're making the trek back, the long and dusty trek. You can see in the space of a year that these horses have lost a fair bit of condition. And things are so tough, even Redmayne the stallion is showing his ribs. Here's Redmayne. And with no grass, they are resorting to eating the bushes, eating little leaves and berries and nuts that are still present on these thorny bushes. There's Redress, not looking very fat anymore, but surviving. The mares are still pregnant. And on they go, long and dusty trail. The grey mare will stop walking to give her foal time to suckle. There's Redmayne the stallion at the rear of the band. And on they go to Bagot Springs. And now they're approaching the spring for a welcome drink of water. It's a permanent spring, never fails. Without this water, all of the bands, and there are several, would perish. There's Redress getting a nip on the bum. She's fairly low in the peck order. They don't stay long at the water, and now they're moving off. Redmayne's checking that they're not being followed by another stallion. And off they go into the distance to see if they can find some pasture, no matter what the quality. Well, August 2019 was the last time I saw the Redress Band. COVID-19 and various other circumstances have prevented me from returning. But I'd love to return. I'd love to see whether Redress herself has born a foal, whether Redmayne is still the stallion in control of that band of mares, and how those foals, the skewbald foal and the little chestnut foal with the feather nose, how they've fared over the last 2 years. Hopefully the Patreon site will perhaps generate enough funds for me and other people to return and enjoy the thrill of walking with these Brumby bands.